Lessons from the wealthy. What rich parents instill in their children. Behavioral experts have defined parents as the true genetic therapists, further explaining that, although your genes trace a pattern for your potential development, they do not determine the way you will grow up. Instead, it is the environment created by your parents that instructs and directs your genes. Every day, you meet and interact with people of different types, and I would dare say that they have become so important because of the influence their parents had on them while they were growing up. This made me think about the greats who rule the economy. Did their parents play a role in making them so extraordinary? Well, after digging a bit, I discovered some things that the rich teach their children and the poor most likely do not. Decorum. Believe it or not, aside from money, the world revolves a lot around etiquette and good manners. In our modern world, nothing can be done alone. We operate within a society, full of different people and in different places. Therefore, there is appropriate behavior for every occasion. Social decorum and etiquette are about more than just the way you speak. It includes the way you present yourself and how you handle others. It gives personal confidence and projects a good impression of you while improving communication by breaking barriers. The business world, which relies heavily on human interactions to close deals and business transactions, has its own set of etiquette. As such, the rich clearly understand that their children will go out there and need to create social relationships while building their own names. Therefore, they take care to instill the correct education in good manners in their children. The poor seem to neglect this aspect, as you would easily discover that their children do not care much about etiquette, a simple example being their way of speaking, the local slang never heard in their neighborhoods. Self-expression. It is not uncommon to find children of well-off people pursuing different career paths from their parents. A good example is the daughters of Bill Gates. His youngest daughter, Sophie Adele Gates, is learning ballet and, in fact, has been doing so since she was very young, while the eldest, Jennifer Catherine Gates, is an equestrian. The point here is that the rich understand the need for self-expression and give their children the choice to decide their own lives. And this is what the poor do not understand. Forcing a child's choices to bend to one's own opinions is never productive and can even lead to counterproductive results. The journey of self-discovery is the most important journey we can undertake. De La Huerta, 2014. Perhaps you agree with this quote, and if you do not, you should, because self-expression begins with understanding yourself to gain your unique individualism. Because doing what you love leads to satisfaction, greater productivity, and even success. Planning. You have probably heard that no one plans to fail, they simply do not plan. Planning your life is one of the most powerful and effective ways to get what you want. Most rich people have this habit. Normally, they plan everything before actually doing it, unlike the poor, most of whom spend the day without planning ahead. With careful observation, one can easily notice that the rich have a specific way of doing things from one step to the next. From the meals they consume to the activities of the day, their goals in life and how to spend time on almost everything is planned. This is easily passed on to their children as they take their parents as role models and would want to do the same things their parents do. Perhaps focusing on earning the essentials and living by the hour, and with the passing of days, deprives the poor of this aspect. And consequently, their children end up losing it. Ensuring their future with their considerable amount of wealth at their disposal, the rich teach their children to have a sense of assurance of a secure future. In relation to this, they open savings accounts for their children at a young age and raise them, encouraging them to at least save. This covers risks and provides insurance such as health, mortgage, and even a means of transportation. On the other hand, the poor rarely have enough to set aside for the future. Most of their life is spent living day by day. Consequently, they barely have enough for themselves and therefore rarely encourage their children to set aside their extra for the sake of the future. Maintaining public image. Due to their status as public figures, the rich teach their children the importance of appearing socially intact whenever they are in public. In most societies, the rich always have a reputation to maintain. From official meetings, they participate in social gatherings in their elegant communities, Parents encourage their children to follow the same footsteps and present a good image to the community. With sufficient resources at their disposal, they have the ability to dress appropriately for every occasion. On the other hand, the poor do not consider appearance in society as something critical. Most of the time, they rarely have gatherings where everyone looks good. In a situation where they need to be socially attractive, they give their best, and unless another similar function presents itself, the likelihood that they will present themselves the same is low. And this is not advisable because even if one is not a public figure, everyone should care about their image and reputation. Maintaining an appropriate image is part of decorum and conveys a reliable and admirable impression. Gender equality. The world has constantly fought against gender biases, and we are witnessing a turnaround with changes in the stereotyped chauvinistic mindset. The rich have found a way out of this restrictive mindset and teach it to their children by motivating their daughters to express themselves and their aspirations, to work hard and achieve their financial and social independence. Female figures are used as an example to encourage them to make it in life. They are also encouraged to look up to their mothers as role models and try to emulate them in life. Unlike the rich, most poor people rarely encourage their daughters to achieve their independence in all aspects of life. Others are encouraged to grow up and look for a husband to form a family. Importance of education. With higher education, the rich encourage their children to take their level of education to the highest point possible. With sufficient resources and the experience of a good education system, they teach their children the importance of going beyond their imagination. With this comes social and financial security while the children learn the importance of a good education. The poor rarely take their children to attend higher levels of education due to lack of resources. Most rarely complete the basics, so they are not interested in the importance of further education beyond the basics. Importance of privacy. While living a life mostly under public scrutiny, the rich hardly have social privacy. This pushes them to adopt measures to ensure that their children have the security of privacy they need while growing up. Believing that exposure is negative for the growth of their children, the rich are perhaps those who understand very well the importance of privacy. They encourage their children to stay alone at home in the name of security. While the poor manage to enjoy the joys of community interactions, there is still a lack of privacy. Children grow up in a heterogeneous community that exposes them to various factors, both good and bad. Importance of health. Having a lot of money does not mean that someone would want to spend it all on hospital expenses. Even if you can afford top quality healthcare, you would not want to get sick just to enjoy it. To define health, it means a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. For a healthy life cycle, a person must have a balanced diet and must regularly exercise. One must also live in adequate shelter, sleep sufficiently, and have good hygiene habits. The rich understand the importance of health as the first capital necessary for any achievement. Therefore, they teach their children the importance of health by guiding them to form healthy lifestyles. Ensuring that they eat healthy and nutritious food, that they undergo regular checkups, that they maintain hygiene, and that they exercise regularly. And not only that, we see them investing in luxuries that make their children's lives easier and more comfortable. Ensuring they get the best of what they need and what they might desire. It is about investing in oneself. As they say, the greatest wealth is health. Independence. There are various advantages to being independent. It provides financial freedom, self-sufficiency, and a responsible and self-motivated mind. Knowing that their wealth could potentially blind their children, making them materialistic and egocentric, they strive to instill in their children the understanding of the importance of considering money as a means to happiness and not as the source. To know the satisfaction that comes from hard-earned money and encourage them to carve their own path. For example, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have pledged to donate almost all their wealth to a philanthropic cause. This demonstrates that they expect their children to follow their own aspirations and make a name for themselves, instead of depending and relying solely on the wealth and name of their parents. To promote this sense of responsibility from a young age, some rich parents encourage their children to have pets. It could be a dog, a cat, a bird, or any other pet. This teaches them responsibility, as they will have to clean and feed the pet to ensure it is safe to keep with humans in the house. Gradually, this will expand to include all other aspects of their lives, as they learn to take both the fame and the blame as they grow up. Philanthropy. The rich do not just engage in charity to quickly meet the needs of society, but they also engage very much in the philanthropic goal of working to improve situations in society. Philanthropy not only works to solve a social problem that our community faces but also helps to provide opportunities to today's society. For example, philanthropists who focus on education can provide academic scholarships to various Ivy League universities. In doing so, the philanthropist provides the opportunity for someone to obtain an education that they otherwise could not afford. Having earned millions throughout their lives, the rich have understood that the importance of money lies in how it is spent. From education to health, to eradicating poverty, and even donating used items, there are many causes they support for the improvement of society. Warren Buffett once said that if you are part of the luckiest 1% of humanity, you owe it to the rest of humanity to think about the other 99%. He and Bill Gates demonstrate their sense of responsibility towards the world, committing to donate most of their wealth to charity, primarily through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We can see this philanthropic mindset passed on, as Buffett's and Gates' children are also involved in philanthropic causes. To serve the community and give back to society, a noble cause. As John Rockefeller said, the best philanthropy is constantly in search of its object, a search for a cause, an attempt to cure evils at their source. Family bonds. After a period of hard work, we always need some rest every now and then. Especially in today's fast-paced world, we easily get swallowed up in the flow of hectic days. The rich mainly encourage engaging in a fun activity for the whole family, to ensure both relaxation from hard tasks and deepening family bonds. Children are taken to the park, to the pool, horseback riding, or even on a road trip, which is considered a mind-relieving activity. With this education, they grow up understanding the importance of relationships and the closeness of a family. Therefore, they ardently desire those activities and seek to organize them again with their friends. Organizing parties and get-togethers. While the bond may exist for the poor, in the quest to meet needs, most of the time they do not have the luxury to dedicate time to their children. And although understandable, this is not good because it leaves the parents out of the lives and growth of their children. It leaves the children yearning for the care and attention they deserve. As you can see, rich parents take a lot of care in the education of their children. And some of the things outlined can and indeed should be done for children even without having the blinding amounts of wealth. If teacher Hershevik, mother of the CEO of the Hershevik Group, Robert Hershevik, had not supported him during their difficult times as immigrants, perhaps we would not see him as he is today. Nor would we hear him celebrate his mother as his inspiration. Once she told him, "Robbie, no one in the world is better than you, and you are not better than anyone else." Isn't that inspiring? What was your experience with the topic covered in this video? Tell us about it in the comments, we are curious to know. And if you have any doubts or questions, don't hold back. Leave a comment, even just a simple like would be perfect, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel to stay informed about upcoming releases.